Hey guys, it's Metal Bum here. Just coming on with a new video on why silver is sending us a macro signal and how Shanghai, GSR extremes, and what comes next in this market. Right now, silver is moving. And this time, I don't think this is just a headline rally. I think this is something different. This is a generational time for silver. Under the surface, we're seeing real signals coming out of the physical market, especially from Asia. And so when this silver starts moving alongside gold and there's macro stress, it's usually not just noise, it's actually a signal. And I'm going to walk you guys through right now the Shanghai market, why silver tends to move once it starts, and how the gold-silver ratio plays into this. I'm actually about to do a gold and silver ratio trade. I'm hoping to do around at maybe 55 GSR. I'm going to be trading some of my silver for gold. So right now, what's happening in Shanghai, there's just like a lot of actual physical demand. The Shanghai Future Exchange and the Shanghai Gold Exchange are very different from Western paper markets like the COMEX. See, the difference between paper and what's real physical is that paper is a promise, a future contract of what silver can be priced at, and this can be for commodities and even like Bitcoin and different things. They can trade as a future contract, or it can trade as the actual thing. So even silver can trade as the actual physical silver and what the price is for silver, or it can trade at what somebody in the future would pay for it, which is just a contract, an IOU. Just like stocks are based on contracts that say that you have some sort of ownership in a company, and even Bitcoin, there's physical Bitcoin, as they say, which is like what you put on your wallet and you hold it just like you would hold silver. And then there's a contract for Bitcoin, or non-real Bitcoin, which is like in the ETFs, or the futures contract, which is just a promise of the future price of Bitcoin. So that's how these macro markets kind of play in. But that being said, I'm kind of going on a side note. Right now in Shanghai, the elevated activity and firmer price signals that are like, the other day it was like $80 something, while silver in the COMEX was only at like 70 something. So it was like 75 versus like 80. And that was such a big spread. So that kind of showed how silver, caught up on the COMEX later, which is kind of more of these Western markets. So yeah, historically, the strength in the Shanghai leads the price discovery for the Western markets. So basically, for short term, the message from Shanghai was clear, is that physical demand is firm, and that these actual physical inventories are tight, and that showed an upside, and why we are at $78 for silver right now. One way to play silver and gold is to trade between silver and gold, and that's what I plan to do. I don't really want to touch my stack to the point where you're using a lot of middleman. You're paying the premiums and you're losing money on every trade you do. So that's like, trading a lot is not good unless you're doing it when there's like a huge move, like right now. Like, so right now, if for instance, like when gold and silver, the difference was like 90 or 110 almost back in like April 2025. That was a time to sell your silver and buy, or actually sell your gold and then buy silver. So that was, for instance, if it's GSR of 100, you would get 100 ounces of silver for every 1 ounce of gold. So for instance, now it's down to about 57 ounces of silver for every gold. So right now it's actually a better time to sell silver and buy gold because the value of silver has spiked. So that being said, I'm not making a move right now. I just wanted to say that there's this signal going on in the Shanghai physical silver market, and that it is a time to put your eyes on, silver. And, buying the tangible silver is completely different than buying into the paper markets. I do hold a lot of paper silver in the ETF form, which is different than the futures market. The futures market is really a bet on it, a bet of future price. So really, what you want to do in general is first stack your silver physically, and then you can use sometimes those paper markets to hedge, and not pay premiums when you hedge. So I'm going to go more into that later. But I am kind of going on a side note on that. And basically, to sum it up, when the gold silver ratio drops below 50, it's not really normal. That's when silver becomes expensive relative to gold, and that's when I'm going to really be making some moves. So let's wait until then, because I think this. So I've been in these markets for a while, including like Bitcoin, including crypto markets back in 2017, 18. And those markets really move a lot faster because those are digital, more emerging market class, digital commodities, whereas silver and gold moves in general slower. But it does seem to be ramping up because of the amount of money supply and printing of the dollars and all of those large macro movements that are going on right now. But to keep this short, if we ever see below 50 silver, which I think we will in 2026, below 50 GSR, I'm going to be selling silver and buying gold. And this is for long-term capital preservation and just to keep this ratio balanced. And I also want to keep this, just kind of buy for value. I want to buy when silver seems low, I want to buy silver. When silver seems highly valued, I want to sell silver and put it into gold. And that's really just one thing that I'm looking at right now. I'm also going to be trading Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other cryptos back and forth into the silver and gold monetary commodities market. And I've been doing that for about the trade between cryptos and monetary commodities, precious metals, basically. I've been doing that for 5 years. I've been getting a lot of comments from silver and gold stackers, which is completely fine because this is a completely different asset and this is a physical asset. But some can make the claim that Bitcoin is because it's based on energy and networks infrastructure. But yeah, I'm going to be making the trade between digital assets and physical assets, which are very different in philosophy and actual tangibility and structure. But I'm going to be making those trades and also just I was kind of reading old comments from like 4 or 5 years ago on how people didn't believe in digital assets like Bitcoin. Just keep this in mind. In the last 5 years, Bitcoin returned about 450%, where my silver returned about, I think, 200, 300%, both different asset classes and obviously at different risk levels. But that's just something to think about because, there's always going to be somebody who thinks there's no value in this, and there's going to be somebody who thinks there's no value in a digital asset. And Facebook is really a digital company that is based on like a social network, so that definitely has value. So you have to think about things like that. Just think I just want you guys to think outside of the book, think outside of what because diversification can sometimes have a place. So to sum it all up right now, I'm going to trade about 10% of my stack when silver when the gold silver ratio hits below 50, I might even do 5% at around 55, which is, this might happen this week. And then if we see a ratio of 30 to 40, I'm really backing up the truck. I'm going to be, that's when silver is significantly overextended relative to gold. And I'm going to be selling a lot of silver for gold. And I might even sell silver for cash. And I might do some trades from later this year from silver to Bitcoin. And, I just want everybody to keep an open mind to this, just like you would, 5-6 years ago, I had an open mind about silver when I was selling a lot of Bitcoin at $70,000 in 2021 and buying silver with it. Also, recently I sold a lot of Bitcoin at 125,000 per Bitcoin, and I was buying silver at $35 to $45 per ounce. So keep these things in mind, and these macro trades, how all these macro things weigh into each other. But before I get too ahead of myself, I'm just going to go over what I'm in the future videos, and I hope that I keep up with these, because I also, if anyone's been following, I do real estate investing. That's my main thing. That's like 70-80% of my entire net worth. So I've got like apartment buildings and things like that, commercial warehouses, things like that. And I also, use some of that cash flow from real estate to buy, cryptos and physical precious metals. So basically I'll continue tracking, Shanghai signals, the gold silver ratio extremes, physical versus paper dynamics, and how precious metals interact with digital assets like Bitcoin or Ethereum. I might even go into some other assets like, the stock market. And just to let you all know, I do have as much skin in the game with the stock market, especially the US stock market, as I do with silver. But I do emotionally, I love silver more. But yeah, if anybody does want to buy any silver from me, I might be selling some of these larger bars, and I might sell some of these Asahi silver troy ounces around spot. So you can comment below if you'd like that, or comment below what you guys would like to go over next. The signals from, the physical markets in China and versus, buying physical silver, gold, doing the GSR trades. And then also if you'd like me to go into digital assets too. I know that's not as hot right now as silver is, but I just wanted to see what everyone's interested in. All right, so continue subscribing and stay prepared for the next thing. Bye.